Multiverse of Madness. There's been a lot of spoilers running around, just the traditional revealing titles and thumbnails, as well as, writing a spoil just straight up in the thumbnail or the title.
I agree. I think we get a really bad rap for this as a brick film community, and I think we deserve it. And we really need to fix this because people are not seeing these movies day one. There's countries where like the movies don't even come out for a week. We got to give at least guys that 2-week grace period. Also, if you have a spoiler in the thumbnail, like showing someone who dies, not that anyone dies in that movie necessarily, but like let's say like Jack in the movie dies. There's not even a Jack, but just an example. Jack dies, right? You put a picture of Jack dying.
Spoiler.
Yeah, you put a picture of Jack dying in the thumbnail, and then in the title you write spoiler, Jack dies. Like that doesn't count as a spoiler. Like that's not enough. Also, don't trash talk people in the comments who are upset, guys. Like, come on, the 2-week grace period, please. We are so bad about that. We got to get better. Moving on to our effect of the week. This is just an amazing Captain Marvel test. They use this like piece of what, plastic, Dragon, you think?
Yeah, it looked like a torn up Ziploc bag almost.
It works so well. They use this torn up Ziploc bag as like a power blast effect. And then they shine the light. And because of like the material used, it refracts in a certain way. And then they move the plastic every frame really quickly. And it just makes this beautiful effect, honestly.
Absolutely. And I do love the added touches of like everything around it is also very smooth too. Obviously, you've got the person with the popped out arms, a custom minifigure, and this nice little camera shake while the beam is there too to also give it a little bit of a powerful feel.
Oh, yeah. And that just all enhances this practical in-camera effect. And I don't think it's something you'd expect to see. And I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, in terms of very cool practical effects, we've got a lot of tips and tricks that we could potentially do. Specifically, how to make a good fight scene. What do you think, Portal?
I think there's a lot of ways to make a good fight scene. And I think my number one advice always is to watch, of course, other stop motion fight scenes. Watch them in full speed a couple times, then watch them slowed down. But I think for fight scenes especially, watching actual live action fight scenes as well can be, because there's techniques that translate over well. And one of the big ones is fast cuts, like boom, 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 keep the intensity, and then knowing where to cut. Especially the biggest one is to cut on action, like 2 or 3 frames after the punch happens. You cut to another angle of that same punch following through. Got to move at least 30 degrees or cut in or cut out. What do you think, Dragon?
Yeah, and I think in terms of the fast cuts, what you're looking for is to keep the adrenaline. Because if you have just like a wide shot of 2 dudes punching each other 4 times, especially in stop motion, that's boring. But like cutting on the upswing into the impact and then cut to the next swing and then impact, the worst thing you can do with these cuts is cut out the impact. Like just do the swing and not the person getting punched. That doesn't make sense. Especially, and you might be tempted to do like the swing and then cut to an angle of them getting punched. But if that's all of your film, it's going to look really weird.
I totally agree. Keep it creative. And going on to that, to kind of help you like keep track of everything, keep it simple. I know we all want to make 100 people fighting like 15 Avengers, but really just practice with like one-on-one, mess with that around, get the techniques down and then move over to bigger ones. Because if your first fight scene, it has like 200 people on screen or even 3 or 4 people on screen, it's a lot harder to work on the minute details versus one-on-one. There's still a lot of interesting stuff you can do. I also think a neat little trick is to have one weapon in the scene. For example, one gun or one knife that the 2 figures are like fighting over, because that can always add like an effect. You got a punch and then they're also fighting over the knife or fighting over the gunshots. Anything else you want to add, Dragon?
No, I mean, it's definitely a reference thing, especially if you can like slow down like a YouTube video at like 0.25 speed and then like storyboard out a specific like combo move that you want and then try and emulate it as close as you can in your thing. That'll look really nice.